I am privileged and honored to serve the City of Pleasant Hill as a Commissioner on Aging, and also figuring out how to show you how to empower your senior dollars. Woohoo! I am a financial literacy expert, and I also call myself a financial cheerleader. When I was in high school, I never made the cheerleading team. So as an adult now, I've appointed myself of being a cheerleader. So I'm going to do that for you today. And let me just, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Veronica Dangerfield, and yes, I am Rodney's only Black child. I come with my own drum roll. I am a commissioner. I have been a proud Pleasant Hill resident for the last 15 years. I'm a financial well-being educator for Pawtucket Credit Union. I've won a few awards, and I also am a salsa dancer. And I can tell you one thing, I am fluent in dance internationally. I can't speak another language, but you show me a movement, I can certainly copy it. So I'm also an international world traveler. I've been to South Africa, I've been to Australia a few times. I love traveling, so I embrace the power of the dollar in every hour, and it makes me want to holler because I get to do all the things that I want to do with my life because I empower each dollar. So today we are going to talk about financial health. Now, financial health means different things to different people, but you know, you can have all the money that you need and you can still feel bad about it, you know? So financial health is actually not what you actually have, and also how you feel about what you have. So to have great financial health, you'll be able to cover your day-to-day, month-to-month expenses, and you have the financial freedom to make choices to enjoy life. And also you have the capacity to absorb shocks. With the pandemic, there's been so many people that have been sideswiped because they didn't have an emergency account, and the emergency came and the emergency never left. So when you have financial health, you're not only taking care of your day-to-day, but you're also able to absorb shock, and you're on track to meet your financial goals. So I would like, do all of you have financial goals? Perhaps, yes, no? So financial goals are really important, regardless of where you are in your life, because it tells your money where to go. It is a GPS on your values. So, so how you feel about your money is important as how you manage your money. And the domains of financial wellness are being able to budget, and with all the money that you get in, and your feelings about your budget, and your spending assessments, and handling your debt, making sure that you maintain a good credit score, because credit is an asset. You can have the opportunity to use somebody else's money for 30 days without having to pay. And then your feelings about how much debt you're carrying in your debt burden. And also having adequate savings, you're managing your pension, and your feelings about your savings, and of course having an emergency fund. So today we're going to talk about your financial health, your financial wellness, and it's going to be, we're going to go over a few basics, because it's like sharpening the saw. You sharpen the saw a little bit. And then we're also going to talk about, the pandemic and what it's done to many people's budgets. We're going to talk about saving money and budgeting tips. I know you're going to love that, because everybody loves saving and budgeting tips. I'm going to go pretty much in depth about financial scams, because there has been a proliferation of scams during this pandemic. So many people are victimized. So I want to make sure that one of the things that I do before we leave this meeting is that you understand how to protect yourself. And then we're going to talk a little bit about estate planning. And as we go along, please feel free to unmute yourself, to comment, or to ask a question, or to perform, because I want this to be interactive and I want this to be fun. And I have to apologize. I was so excited about coming today that I might have gotten a little carried away with the information. So what I want you to do is, I want all of us to have a goal. I want the goal to be something that you can implement right after the presentation. They call them that's things you can take action with today. So that's your goal, to come up with 3 things that you can take action with today. And we're going to share that at the end of the presentation. Deal? Deal. Okay, the first thing I wanted to talk about was the CARES Act. When the pandemic started earlier in the year, the government came in and he gave everybody the stimulus checks, but they also enacted the forbearance, so many people weren't paying their mortgages, and also the forbearance on stopping some of your credit card payments. If you had anything under the CARES Act right now, it's going to end at the end of the year. But if you wanted to, if you still didn't, I don't know how many people were affected adversely, but if you were affected adversely and you still are challenged with your income, make sure that you give your creditors a call and let them know what's going on so that you can protect your credit. And also, because of the CARES Act, if you wanted to, you could check your credit right now weekly. And why would you want to do that? You want to make sure, 1, that there's no fraud, and 2, if you ask for forbearance or delayed payment from your credit cards, you want to make sure that it has not affected your credit. So that's some of the things with the CARES Act right now. It's ending, but since we have a new president and he's thinking about supporting us, perhaps there will be more stimulus in 2021. So I want you guys to, we're going to do a quick poll here, and everybody can just at the bottom of the presentation, you should be able to click and raise your hand. So how have you been affected by the pandemic? Have you saved more money? Have you spent more money? Or has budgeting been the same? Okay. Hey, Eric. Okay. Number 3, mostly number 3 is perfect. Budget have stayed the same. Well, that hasn't been the case for most of the country. What has happened is everybody has spent more money on groceries. And guess what? Groceries have gone up more than they have since the 1930s. They've gone up 35 to 40%. So if you've been spending money on grocery, your grocery bills have gone up. Have you noticed when you go to Safeway how expensive the meats are now? I could not believe it. Steaks are like $17 and $19. I mean, it's a great, I was personally considering becoming a vegetarian, spending all that money on meat, but it has made a really a big impact. And most people, this is what happens with the pandemic. Ordering out and taking out delivery has increased 35%. Packaged food and drinks, 32%. Savings, people are saving more money now. Fresh foods and in-home entertainment. And of course, travel, which has broken my heart. I have to tell you, I am not an extrovert. I am an extrovert. And I spent all of my time traveling the world. And sitting in my kitchen has made me very humbled. And I guess in gratitude that I have a nice place, a warm place to stay, but it's been very hard. to sit here in my kitchen day after day. So I'm so glad I get to spend a nice hour with you guys. So public transportation. So the pandemic has really affected a lot of people's budget, but mostly food. Since you can't go out to eat now, spending a lot of money for food. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is one of the things that you need to do as you continue to go is make sure that your emergency fund is fully funded. Your emergency fund is something that's going to cover your expenses 3 to 6 months in the event that something happens. And it's going to cover, as you can see, it can cover your job if you have one. It covers your home, medical expenses, and your cars. A lot of people that are on a fixed income forget that they still need to fund their savings accounts. It's extremely important. And towards the end of the presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that. So when you start doing your budget, or when you start paying all your bills, I would like to highly suggest and recommend that saving is your #1 expense. And the reason why I say this is that a lot of people that I work with, they think that paying off their bills is their first expense, but it's not. Because who is the #1 person for your financial life? Yeah, it's you. Look in the mirror. So the first thing you do is, in the credit union world, we say pay yourself first. So the first amount of money you get, regardless of where you get it from, goes into the Eric account, or the Kathleen account, or the Cassie account, or the Veronica account. And that is separate from your savings. Because if you want to save successfully, I recommend you save separately. Why? Because if your checking and your savings account is attached, your savings account is at peril of spontaneous spending or emotional spending. But if you save separately and you can't get to that money, you have a better chance of being a little bit more successful.
All right, I finally got the sound to come on.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. So we're talking a little bit about saving now, and then we're going to have another suggestion to support your savings is have a no spend month challenge. Have you ever, I don't suggest you do it in December because there's so much going on, but have you ever had the opportunity to have a no spend day or a no spend week? What you would do is you would get all of your basics in your house, and then you would not travel with your credit card or your debit card, and you see how much you can save. It is a great opportunity to practice self-discipline, and also it increases your awareness of what you're spending money on. Because I tell people money is either paper or power. It's paper if you're not tracking it. If you're not tracking it, it's disappearing. But it's power when you track every penny and you make every single dollar work for you. So we have the no spend challenge. Another suggestion on saving money is waiting 24 hours before you spend, especially in Christmas time. I actually wait the 24 hours before I spend, and then after I go and buy it, I wait 24 hours with the receipt, and I don't touch it to make sure that I didn't go for just the adrenaline in my head and the high of spending. Because once the high of spending is gone, you just have debt. So wait 24 hours before you spend, and think about the big picture. The 24-hour waiting period gives you time to think about whether it's really worth it. Do you really need it? And the waiting period also gives you time to shop for a better deal. If you can't get the item out of your head and decide to purchase, you can do it feeling good about your spending. A lot of people they feel guilty about spending. But if you wait 24 hours and then you keep the receipt with it for 24 hours, then you're sure you made a conscious, aware spending power, spending dollars full of power. So that might be your action item to do. And then the other thing is find creative and fun ways to make money. Right now, my daughter, she is a student in Chicago, and she's studying Chinese. And I told her for a job, there's this website called VIP Kids, where you can, from the comfort of your home, teach the cutest little Chinese kids how to speak English. And if you've got a college education, you don't have to know how to speak Chinese, but it's really good money. So if you're feeling challenged by your budget and you don't feel like you're saving enough, become more creative and look for ways using your talents and your abilities to increase the cash flow that's coming in and out of your house. So now we're going to go into, we've talked a little bit about savings, and now we're going to go into my favorite topic of all, which is budgeting. And as Dave Ramsey says, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. So now we're sharpening the saw. I'm sure all of you guys have heard of these tips before, but it's nice to revisit them and renew them, and to remember maybe something that you had forgotten about. So when you get on a budget, it increases your conscious spending. I talk about the power of the dollar, and every hour makes you want to holler. Those dollars are marching towards making you make the best financial decisions available. When you're spending consciously, you're thinking about today and tomorrow. It improves your spending habits. You're not doing spontaneous spending. You've thought about it, you planned it out, and you can feel good about whatever you purchase. It avoids debt and improves your credit score intentionally. A lot of people, I know on the Black Fridays, I don't know how you guys did on that, where everywhere people were bombarding you to spend, bombarding you. But if you have a budget and you're supportive and following it, you will not let people manipulate you by sales tactics. You'll be control of your financial environment all of the time. And it also supports your financial goals. Remember, I talked a little bit earlier about having financial goals. Everybody should have a GPS for their money. Everybody should have a financial goal. And maybe your financial goal is to, I don't know, go to Napa for a nice weekend, or take a trip once the world opens up again. But having goals are very, very crucial when you're working on your finances. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about managing debt. It's very, very important. There's a saying that says that debt is the biggest determinant into decreasing your wealth. Why? Because if it's on a credit card, the interest rates are high. And they'll tell you, I think the average credit card rate is between 15 and 23%. But when it compounds, guess what? You're paying a lot more. So you're going to pay yourself first, and then you're going to manage your debt by paying more than the minimum. There's the avalanche method and the snowball method. The avalanche is when you get the highest and then you pay it all the way down to the lowest. And the snowball is you get rid of the smaller ones. And then there's the snowflake. The snowflake is when you get extra money. It's your birthday and somebody sends you a check. You get a tax return. You can snowflake your debt down. Leave your credit card at home. Leave your debit card at home when you go shopping. Don't sign up for department store credit cards, and then toss the junk meal. Make sure that when you're managing your debt, you're also not hungry. Ever been to the grocery store when you're hungry? What do? You ever go out when you're hungry? You end up at McDonald's polluting your body. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself. In the first half of 2019, the average credit card interest was around 17% among accounts assessed, according to the Federal Reserve. And rates have risen 35%, you guys, over the last 5 years. Credit card rates have risen 35%. Make sure that you use them cautiously, with awareness, and on purpose. So now I want somebody to actually answer this question. What are your emotional spending triggers? Any volunteers to unmute and talk about the spending triggers? Okay, Kathleen. Unmute yourself. Kathleen, can you hear me? Unmute yourself. You're still muted. There you go.
Okay, here we go. These days, my emotional triggers are feeding the hungry and clothing the homeless. I have a lot of feelings for that, and we're not out eating out dinners like we might normally be. So any of that money that I would have spent on a month of going out, a lot of times the food bank, Salvation Army.
Yes, yeah.
And then my other emotional trigger is sometimes I just need to pick up little tiny, really expensive gifts for other little friends, like a little surprise, something, a bottle of bubble bath or something small.
I love that. I love that. There's so much need right now. And you have such a big heart, Kathleen. There's so much need right now. And I actually have that problem too. I end up giving a lot of money away because I know the needs are so great. But guess what I had to do? I had to sit down with the budget, and I had to budget my giving away money. And once that money is gone, I can't give any away because I'm actually on the borderline of needing a support group of supporting charity events. So know what your emotional triggers are, and then plan for them. Know that when you go out, I'm going to spend, my fund money at the end of my budget is $200, and I'm going to spend $50 on giving it to the food shelter or feeding people. But once you know what your trigger is, and mine is loneliness now. I just have been in this house for 8 months. And when I feel bad, I want to go to Amazon. So I have an Amazon budget because it will interfere with my financial goals long term. So maybe that will be one of your action items today, is to figure out what your emotional spending trigger is, and then get a plan around it. So when you're triggered, you'll know exactly what you want to do, and you won't be manipulating and hurting your long-term future. So now we're going to talk about some common mistakes to avoid when paying off debt. And the first one is not having a realistic budget. Now, this has been a chronic challenge for me because I want my budget to be a lot lower than what it really is. So there's some wishful thinking in there. So a realistic budget is taking in account everything, but not with guilt and not with recrimination, but with love and compassion. Because if you can do it with love and compassion, you will do it. But if you think you're going to feel bad about it, you're not going to do it. So get a realistic budget and then determine a debt-free date. By January of 2023, I'm going to have no consumer debt. And then that'll be like your GPS pulling you towards better behaviors so that you can meet that goal. If you put it on a calendar, I'm telling you, it's just, it's like a magnet. Failing to pay yourself each month, we talked about that a little bit earlier. So if you don't pay yourself each month, when you end up having a financial emergency, you end up going back to your credit cards and you're financing it. But if you have some money saved, at least you have a choice. Continuing to accumulate debt, if you decide that you're going to have a debt-free date, you might want to think about putting your credit cards in a glass of water and then putting them in the freezer. And then when you want to use them again, you can't put it in the microwave because then it's going to thaw out and it's going to kill the strip. So then you have to wait till it thaws out, and then you have to think about whether you should do that or not. And then I'm going to send you a picture of me, and I'm going to be looking like this. And then you're going to be so scared because danger is in my name. You're going to be so scared that you won't use your card anymore. And then understanding your why. We have to understand why, because the why drives all of our behaviors. If you don't have a why, you're going to be out of control. But when you have a why and you have a goal, it pulls you towards your greater self. It pulls you towards a greater vision of your life. And guess what, you guys? You deserve it. You deserve to have the best life possible. So, but that is a decision that you have to make every day, right? You can say, well, Veronica said I could do it, but Veronica can't come into your house. Well, I could come into your house, but nobody recommends that. Nobody wants me to come to your house as much as I want to. So you have to be the commander. You have to be the captain. You have to understand why, and you have to have financial goals always. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a little bit about wants and needs. Now, I am not going to tell you what your want or what your needs are. As Kathleen said, it can be very, very personal. If one of my needs is lipstick, when people used to get to see your face. I mean, when I wanted to do something that really made myself feel happy and it was in the budget, I would go and spend $10. I felt so good about that $10, you know? So the money problem is, you see that we have food there and that's fresh, healthy food. And where on the other end, it is eating out, which is extremely expensive. Having shelter, shopping, I've got the Nordstroms here, and then I have the regular water. And but if you sit down and you really think about what your needs are and what your wants are, and then make a decision based on that for your spending, I'm telling you, it will increase the quality of your financial decisions. And it will also increase the quality of your life, because then you are making a conscious choice. And with the conscious choices, it comes empowerment. You add up all your income, and then you find out how much money you have in all the categories. If you need to tighten your belt, you do that. If you need to loosen it, you do that. But at the end of the day, you are going to benefit because you're going to sharpen awareness. It's going to uncover spending issues. It's going to prevent overflow budgeting categories, and it's going to motivate you to cut back bad behaviors. Okay, you guys, remember, what is your number one expense? Savings. Thank you. Paying yourself first. Thank you. And the church said, Amen.
Amen.
I'm having so much fun. Thank you guys so much for coming. So the next thing we're going to talk about your committed monthly or fixed expenses. Now your fixed expenses are something that you always know exactly how much they're going to cost. And then you have your variable expenses that can go up or down. But you see your fixed expenses here. Can you control them? Can you control the cost of your fixed expenses? Some of them you can. The cable, internet, utilities. You know what? I have something really fascinating to tell you. I had a refrigerator, and the refrigerator was a bad refrigerator. But when everybody moved out, I unplugged it. And since I unplugged that refrigerator, I have not had a PG&E bill. That one refrigerator was costing me $1,200 a year, and it wasn't even working right. So look around and make sure that you've got efficient utilities. Look around and make sure that you're making a conscious choice on all the things that you choose to spend money on. Now, your variable costs are the budget killers. Do most of you budget for birthdays? Do you budget for holidays? Do you budget for things that are going to come up? Because if you don't, they're budget killers. Today's my kid's birthday. He's 19. I budgeted for his birthday because I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money on him because he's 19, and I'm always spending money on this kid, okay? Kids are like, I don't know, they're like grateful little homeless people who eat your money up all the time. That was my attempt at humor. I love my kids, but anyway, if you control your variable cost, but I have a suggestion and a recommendation on how to control your variable cost. Are you guys ready? Okay, this is what it is. It's called a sinking fund. You have an emergency fund for all of your unexpected expenses. Now, your emergency fund is your sacred fund. This is the fund that's going to save your life. It's going to increase the quality of your life if you have a financial emergency. However, your sinking fund is going to help you with your birthdays, with your car renewals, with your vacation planning. So you're going to plan for all of your expenses. I have a sinking fund for my car, and I save up for my car. I have a sinking fund for my hair, although it's not looking all that hot right now. Usually it's just gorgeous. But the plan is that I'm not surprised by any of my expenses now. I know that when my insurance comes up annually, when my registration for my car comes up annually, when I have to pay for my with this car, I make sure that every 5,000 miles I take it in, because I would really love to never have to buy another car again. So this car has to last me for 30 years. I don't know if we're going to make it, but that's my goal. This car is going to be like 40 years old. Hopefully they have cars that drive themselves by then. I won't need a car. But anyway, just imagine if you had a sinking fund. And you guys, make it simple and easy for you to work with. You can keep multiple envelopes. And you can have a car fund, you can have a hair fund, you can have a birthday fund, you can have a Christmas fund. But the thing is that not to be surprised by expenses. Okay, now I want to talk about, I would like to ask, what is your best budgeting tip? Can we have any volunteers? What is your best budgeting tip? Unmute yourselves. No volunteers? Kathleen, you're over there giggling.
I would say have an emergency fund.
Yes, yes, that's the best budgeting tip. I think my best budgeting tip is to review. I review my monthly finance. I have a money date. Once a week, a prolonged one, and once a month for a long term, where I look at my income and my expenses, and I give myself a grade. These are very compassionate and loving sessions because everybody's doing the best they can with the ability and the awareness that they have at the time. Most people don't want to go to money classes because they think they're going to make them feel bad about themselves. But regardless of what you are or where you are, you're as young as you'll ever be, and you're as smart as you'll ever be. And tomorrow is where all the opportunity lies. You can't change yesterday, but each day we can make conscientious, aware, and smart choices on how we want to use our energy. Our money. Our money energy. It's the same. Okay, how to spot a scam. I had a girlfriend that I knew, and I really liked her a lot, but we weren't very close. Well, she sent me an email, and she told me that she was traveling in Europe, and somebody had stolen her wallet, and if I could please send her some money. First thing I thought was, I was honored. Out of all the people that she knew, why would she ask me for money? She's never asked me for money before. So what I did was I had her phone number and I called her. And guess what? Somebody had hacked her account, got it to all of her people, and sent this message. And the sad thing was some people from her church had sent money to the scammers because they thought it was her. So there's 3 words that I want you to remember. I want you to remember suspicious, aware, and disbelieving. So you need to be suspicious of anybody that ever contacts you that you don't know. They're uninvited. And I'm going to say this over and over again when we start talking about some of these things specifically, because if you don't protect what your assets are, these people are coming to get them. So unexpected money, unexpected winnings. I have just won $1 million, and I need an account for you to help me to get it open. And if you open up this account for me, I will give you $10,000. The answer is no. The buyer-seller fraud, there's fake charities. Oh, the dating schemes. At our credit union, we've had ladies lose their entire retirement from dating schemes. They go and they know that you're lonely, and they start out really friendly. And I actually have a lot of personal experience with the dating schemes, because I had this guy. This guy was such a great schemer, you guys, that I saved his letters. They were so good, but all he wanted was my money. The get rich quick operations, threats and extortions, a lot of that, and identity theft. We're going to actually start talking about how to combat this. So the second thing I want you to be aware and cognizant of is 1.1 million people report fraud. It's 905 million total fraud losses. Now, this is quite a bit more since COVID. COVID has interrupted so many scams. 1 in 5 people lose money. 328 million people reported lost. And guess who are the people who get more fraud? The young people. Why? Because they go to these websites that are not safe. So you go to a website and you're getting ready to purchase something, and it has an HTTP, or it has the HTTPS. Which one are you going to go to? HTTPS, because the S at the end means that it's secured. If it just has the HTTP, they're getting ready to rob you. So if you don't see an S, you do not click on it. You see here, people age 70, if people over 70, when they lose money, they lose so much more. So not only should you understand some of the things that I'm going to talk about today, but share with each other and protect each other. I think the only reason why we're on this planet is support and love one another and help one another out. So, and if you have been victimized by a fraud, do not be embarrassed. Please let somebody know so that we can help you. So the next one is uninvited oh, did you have something to say, Sally? You can unmute yourself. Yeah, you're not quite unmuted yet, Sally. Just click on the little, there you go.
Okay. Where do you see this HTTPS?
It is at the top of the line where you're looking for your
Address.
What are they? Yeah, the address line. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it always has to have the S on that. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
Veronica, we're getting some chats in the chat room here. And
Okay.
it's saying, they're also saying the IRS fraud. So just want to let you guys know, yes, the IRS is one of the top fraud. They will call you and say they're claiming to be the IRS and they are not. So yes, we acknowledge that. And then Eric, I think you have something to say as well. Let's unmute you.
No, sorry.
No, not this Eric. Eric Thurgeson.
Yes.
There we go. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, you got that. You need to add contractor scams onto your list there too.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
There's so many. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I do a little prosecuting on the behalf of the California Architects Board. And we look into scams of people that misrepresent themselves. You have contractors that come in and say they're doing wonderful things for you, and then all of a sudden they don't show up after they have your money.
So I actually have had many contractors, and since I work with money, I'm highly suspicious. So what I did was I went to AAA, and they have a home service, and they gave me an inspection, and they have a contractor come at, I think it's $88 an hour, and they always do a great job, and that I don't have to be suspicious or worried, and I know that the work is going to be good. So there's just, I mean, there's a plethora of scams, and I want you to know, everybody on this call to know, the IRS will never call you asking for your identification. Your bank will never call you asking for your identification. They already know who you are. So if somebody calls you and asks you, what you're going to do is you're going to hang up and actually call your bank or call the IRS. Because where the problem comes from, you guys, is the uninvited contacts. I was out and somebody sent me a text on my phone and it says, "This is Chase. Someone is using your account number. Please click on this link immediately." Why is Chase sending me a text? And what happens is, you're working, you're, doing your gardening, you're reading your books, and all of a sudden you get this and you don't think first. You go, oh my God, this is legitimate. But then after you think about it for a few minutes, you go, wait a minute. So be highly suspicious of any uninvited contact. Do not respond to calls. Do not respond to texts. Call your bank and be suspicious and careful. Yes, Kathleen.
The other day I got a call that said I won $5 million. It was Reader's Digest. Ha, ha, ha. She even gave me the my broker, as if I have a broker's name and his extension in front of it. And she repeated it twice. It was really terrible. I mean, and then the other thing I wanted to mention is on my cell phone for my Apple accounts or my Amazon accounts, I am constantly getting, they call them phishing and spoofing.
Oh, yes.
That, you bought this, or gee, your account is, we need to clarify this and that. So I always forward them either to Apple or to Amazon. They have their little, addresses for that stuff. And I don't pay attention to them anymore, because for a while I was calling Amazon or Apple and saying, is this real? But it's not, it just isn't.
It's bad people who have too much time on their hands and they think that they can be predators. So if it's an uninvited contact, just don't even bother. Just hang up and protect yourself. So be very, very suspicious, aware, and cautious. And then the Medicare scams. Oh my gosh. People will call you and say, this is Medicare, we have this, but we need your social security number so that we can clear this. Never. I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. Verify the call by asking them to call back, and check your Medicare billing carefully, because sometimes they'll put all kinds of crazy stuff on that. When you're overwhelmed with people have been calling from the coronavirus scams have been off the chart. I'm calling because of this or that. So ask yourself who's the message is from and what do they want you to do? And what evidence do they have to support the message? So, and you can also go to the FTC government coronavirus, but I would rather you be distrustful of everything than be trustful and then get victimized. So I don't even answer my phone, because 90% of the time, only 3 people call me. The Chinese, they call me all day long. I don't know why. Oh, Walgreens is like my boyfriend. So Walgreens, you've got your prescription ready. And there was another one that was, and scams. 3, why answer the phone? I don't waste my time anymore. So, and I tell people if they know me, send me a text first and tell me who they are, so then I'll answer the phone. I hate that we have to live in a world that's this suspicious, but I prefer for you to be suspicious and aware and cautious than being victimized by these predators. So now I wanted to talk about the coronavirus and its effect on us when we can't get out. I'm going to read this because I just want you guys to know it. Research really shows that the magnitude of risk presented by social isolation is very similar in magnitude to that of obesity, smoking, lack of access to care, and physical inactivity. The investigators weighed several standard measures of social isolation, including marital status, frequency of religious service attendance, club meeting, group activities, and numbers of close friends or relatives. They found that overall, race seems to be a stronger predictor of social isolation than sex. White men and women are more likely to be in the least category. But what I wanted to emphasize in this is that being alone impact is worse than obesity, smoking, lack of access, and physical inactivity. So that's why it's so important that we got together today on the Zoom call. And I just wanted to give you some supporting things so that you can know what to do. Activities that promote social interaction at least weekly among adults. Of course, cell phone, socially, and interact with people in the neighborhood, and then connect with family and friends over Zoom. So make sure that a part of you're doing your financial empowerment. You also do your social empowerment, and make sure I got a chance to see my cousins since that we have a pandemic, because we had a Zoom meeting and we've never been in the same room in 25 years. So book clubs, I'm telling you, Amazon I need to be in a 12-step recovery program for books. I got Libby, I got Audible, and can I recommend a book? John Cleese's So Anyway. It is the funniest book I have ever read, but you have to get it on Audible so you can hear him tell his jokes. You will not be depressed because you will be laughing all night long. So make sure Libby, Audible, on Facebook, they even have this nonfiction book club that tells you all these great books to read. So make sure that you stay socially active and mentally challenged and aware and know lots of stuff. So then my last thing I wanted to talk about is estate planning and making sure that you have all your paperwork prepared. My mother died in 2018, and she had all of her paperwork done, and it allowed me to support her to have a wonderful end of life transition. So when my mother transitioned into a butterfly, I was able to be in the hospital with her and protect her and give her the best transition ever. So, and I actually did that for my kids last week. I finished the trust. And the thing is that it wasn't about me dying. It was about love. It was about me loving my children enough to know that they're going to be traumatized when I leave, and they know where everything is. I got my power of attorneys. I got, I left money to my friends, to my charity, because you never know. So a part of being fiscally and financially empowered is doing these things, getting your trust together, making sure you have life insurance if you need it, giving to your favorite charity, and making sure that you don't put that off. And finally, the different types of power of attorneys. The general power of attorney helps you if you become incapacitated. The durable power of attorney designate another person to act on your behalf and maintains a power of attorney after the principal if you become incapacitated. The special or limited power of attorney that grants the agent authority to sell a home or other pieces of real estate. And the springing durable power of attorney, like if I go on a trip and I become disabled, my children can spring in and use it. So you guys probably have heard of this before. I didn't invent the wheel again. It's a loving and gentle and kind reminder to not only have a great life, but have a great transition and have your heirs have a legacy of comfort while you are transitioning into another form of energy. And together, this is what the pandemic was, the greatest gift, that I got an opportunity. I'm a financial health educator. So I would go to nonprofit groups and low-income groups and employer groups to talk about, to be a financial cheerleader and to empower people to live their best life and their greater selves. Yay. And then the pandemic came and I'm in my kitchen. However, I transitioned into a video, and I've actually reached more than 180,000 people. So, you know, you have to, I'm actually understand now that I'm not wise enough to know when something bad happens to me or not. Because life has so many beautiful surprises, and maybe because of this pandemic, I had an opportunity to share some time with you beautiful people. How would I have ever had the opportunity to do that? So, so my parting words are: you are valued, and you are important, and you are loved, and you are honored, and you are cherished, and it is a privilege to spend time with you. And I'm gonna get everybody together here. And we're all in this together. And I am a resident. You can find me online if you Google my famous name. Don't I have a famous name? Veronica Dangerfield? I should be a superhero, right? She came in, she flew in, she saved the day, baby. So I would be honored to answer any questions anybody has right now before we sign off, because I did a whole lot of talking. It would be wonderful if you could share some of your action items, something that you heard today that you want to institute. Kathleen?
One thing I heard you say, but I missed it. Did you give a website for teaching English to the?
It's KP Kids.
Okay.
You know what, Kathleen? If you, my name is Veronica Dangerfield. I'm the commission. If you send an email to Danielle at the city, I will actually send you the website.
Okay, great.
It's you know, you can make like $350 a week. You just have to get up early in the morning, because in China,
right,
you know.
Well, that sounds very interesting. What the heck? So how would I reach the commission? What was the website?
Well, Cassie.
Yeah, Kathleen, it's you know, I'm recording, so let's see. It's D Haber, so it's Haber, and I am not sure at the @ Let me pull it up. Hold on.
You know, I will put I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find it.
And you can just email me directly.
Okay, great. Beautiful.
That
Thank
also
you very
works.
much. It was very helpful.
So how did I do, everybody? Do I get a thumbs up?
Yeah.
Yay, nay?
Very entertaining, Veronica. Even though we're talking about serious stuff, I love it.
Yeah, I'm privileged. I asked myself a long time ago what I was put on this planet to do, and I was put on this planet to teach, preach, and make people laugh.
Oh,
And I
love that.
teach about money, and I preach the gospel of love, and I make myself laugh, and sometimes people laugh at me. But with a name like Veronica Dangerfield, I can take that on the road.
Get out of here.
No respect, no respect.
Hey, Veronica?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking for a program to talk about senior investments, because I find that when you go to a brokerage, I mean, if you're not educated, they just run you backwards and forwards. I mean, I would like a really basic program like this to talk about investments.
You know what? I will put it on my list of things to do
I'd
for
like to.
2021 because I know exactly what you're talking about because I don't have a financial advisor. I do all the research myself. But I do get the retirement
You're a
report
money
from,
person.
yeah. Have you heard of Kiplinger's retirement report?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know of someone specializing in that, but Sally, I will look and I will also become an expert on it myself so that I can see you again.
I love that can-do attitude. Yeah,
That's
you
a
know,
very good point. That's a very good point. May I say one other thing?
of course.
Yes.
please.
What happens, you know how they have that 70.5 mandatory distribution?
Yeah.
I'm there and I don't really quite know what to do.
So your bank or your financial institution should be able to support you with that.
Okay.
However, because of the CARES Act, they rolled it back to 72.
True.
So if
that's where all
wherever
the
your money is,
Yeah.
they should be able to. They should have that set up.
Oh, I see. So it's automatic.
And you don't have to take it this year because of the pandemic. You can
Yes.
Right. Is there a certain amount that they just sort of assign that?
Yes, it is. It is. It's based on an algorithm, and
Oh.
what they decide your life expectancy is
Oh,
going to
okay.
be.
Mhm.
I think it's a pain in the butt because people should be able to decide what they're doing with their own money. You know what I mean? And I think it's a cruel form of ageism. But don't get me on my soapbox.
Right,
Okay,
you don't
so
have
that
to
the
take,
bank will take care of that.
right. The CARES Act says you do not have to take your money out this year
Right.
for any. But if you have inherited IRAs, you should still be taking those out in the following year and not put your own personal IRAs. You don't have to take them out until the age of 72.
I see. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. That was very specific.
I'm there.
Gosh, Eric.
The only problem is that I'm having is that, fine, done the whole debt thing, remove the debt thing, monitor what your budget is, watching out for the scams. Okay, you got all this stuff. What do you do now? I mean, how do I spend this money?
That's a very good question.
And may have these goals, but you may have reached a lot of these goals. You may have, secured your and all of these things, and I don't like new cars. So I like driving old cars. And so
so many creativity questions, Eric.
It's what goals are now available,
That sounds like wonderful questions to explore. And first world questions too. That's amazing. Whether it be whether you have the opportunity now to make the world a better place by sharing it with an organization or whatever makes you.
But that was the problem. I was going to go to Italy to teach this year. I was going to start in September, and school got wiped out.
Oh man.
And so, and then I was going to travel, as a result of that, and all the kids, my niece's weddings were all going to happen this year. They're not happening, So,
well, everything in life is temporary, and this too shall pass.
That's the only thing we can hope.
That's the only we can hope for, And like I said, you never know why things happen. Maybe there was something fortuitous within there that we don't even understand yet. So it just takes a lot of forbearance and grace to live in 2020, because I think it should bring us together as human beings. And it's hard because I was supposed to go to Morocco this year, and I was beginning my international speaking career, and then I was going to go to Paris, and then I was going to go to the Maldives, and now I'm just, but I'm healthy, and I have a nice home, and I get to be with you beautiful people for 1 hour out of my life, and for that I'm so grateful. And there's a study. The study says that if you are grateful, it increases the resiliency of making goals. So if you did a gratitude exercise right before you decided to, I don't know, get a new goal of, I don't know, losing 10 pounds, because the pandemic has made everybody a little bit healthier. You would be more resilient to finish that. So it's just a great opportunity to learn and grow in ways that we didn't want to, but helps the whole planet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on the car thing. I want my car to keep running forever. I don't want a fancy computerized car or one that drives for me. No,
No. Yeah, it's a changing world, though.
got a 20-year-old Honda. Hope it keeps on going.
Oh, you guys are great.
Well, I really appreciate more than you can ever know the opportunity to spend time with you beautiful people. I wish you the very best. I understand what your concerns are, but I want you to know that you're not alone and that I'm a part of your community and I am your community, and I'm very proud of that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I couldn't
Look forward
wait.
to getting your email address, and I will follow up.
Lifetime friends, Kathleen. Lifetime friends.
And will you do that before we leave?
Oh, I put my email in the chat. But Cassie, I will share my email with you, and maybe you can share it with the people who registered.
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. Or just email it to the city, and she can get it to me. Holly actually put this together. I don't know if you know Holly Freitas.
No.
Holly's actually the one who put this together with the city, so that's why the senior center is represented here.
So is your real name Cassie Eternal?
It sure is.
Oh my God. Are you a heroine in a superhero
let me go
story?
get my sword. I just got lucky and married into it, that's all.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love your name.
Thank
Well, you guys have a wonderful afternoon. So I did a good job. Did I do okay?
Yes, very good.
All right then.
Thank you all. See you next
We'll
time.
see you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.